Alright, I went ahead and turned the distributor around. I think it was 180 off. It was facing here instead of there. So we went ahead and rewired the spark plugs. Turn the distributor around. Let's go ahead and see what happens now. We're just going to go ahead and squirt a little bit of this in there. Okay, hang on. You want to turn it over? Hang on. All right, go ahead. Okay, so we're back to running. We need to get this thing up the stands. It sounded like the timing is set where it's going to be set, and we can go ahead and tighten down the distributor and go from there.
Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
So for right now, we're going to go ahead and leave the distributor right there where it's at. I think it sounds really good. Didn't it sound pretty good to you?
I thought it sounded really good.
Sounded nice and smooth. Everything was running great, and we don't have any shorts. It started right up. I mean, right when we bam, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, stupid me. I can't believe I had the distributor out. Go ahead and check our power steering. There's not one drop in there, so we got to put that in. And then, of course, we got to fill up our master cylinder, bleed all the brakes, and then this car should be back to running.
And driving.
Yes, hopefully. We need the car driving. We cannot push this car in and out of our shop. In and out of our shop. It's got to be running. This thing weighs 7 tons. So,
yeah. There
you go. The car's running, and we got to hook our horns back up. They go right here. But other than that, I mean, we're going downhill on it. What are you thinking? Maybe the
downhill slide to the paint.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get the power steering fluid in. We'll have to let that run through the system. And once we get that in, then we'll bleed the brakes and go down the road. Well, we got the Chevelle on the ground. I actually took it for a test drive yesterday. When I say test drive, I didn't drag race it or anything. I just basically took it around the block, made sure everything was solid and working properly. And thank God everything worked proper and it's running good. So we are getting back on our Chevelle. And I'm not going to prime this yet. I want to wait until I do the fenders. And then once the fenders are done, then we'll do an overall prime job. And I still got to fix the rust over here in this corner, and I think there was a little bit over there. And then I'm going to remove the windshield and inspect that thoroughly and clean all that out. So before before we put any more primer on it, we still got a lot to do. Now, this has been a big job, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, this was an extensive job for one-man operation. I've had this car here for a little over a year and a half, going on 2 years, but the thing is, I'm by myself. I'm a one-man operation, and I'm doing the best I can, so give my friend Pete a break, and let's just all, leave a thumbs up if possible, or possibly leave a comment and let me know what you think about this car. So what we got here, we got the fender. The fender is in bad shape. We're going to take a good look at that when we get closer to repairing it. The owner actually had to buy, let me go ahead and tell you this, he actually had to buy a brand new fender for the pieces we need to fix this one. He wanted to go ahead and use the new fender, and I told him I really didn't think that'd be a good idea. We should stick with the factory sheet metal. Everything will line up perfectly and we won't have a problem. But over in this area, and we'll take a good look at that, it's just completely rotted out. Now this is the thing on this type model Chevelle, this particular model, is this section right here is actually part of the fender. It is molded into the fender. It's not a separate piece that you can buy like other cars. So he had to buy a whole fender and he cut it off here, and it's in this box over here. We're going to unpack it so we can get this bottom section right here, and then of course all this we're going to take off and replace it, and it goes all the way up to about right here is where we're at. But before we do that, we actually have some bolts that are rotted into, and I don't want to break these little sleeves, these little speed nuts. I want to keep those, so we're going to have to take our cutting torch and heat them up to remove them. So if you look right here, this is one of the bolts we need to replace. I don't want to rip this fender out, so I'm going to go ahead and heat that up. And I'm going to be very cautious not to melt it. We just want to heat it up good to get that out of there and loosen that rust up. You can see that plastic behind there melting. That is the plastic inner fender well. So we're going to get it really hot and red. And then I'll take my and you can see that the nut is spinning with it. Now remember, this car is from Pennsylvania. It is a Pennsylvanian car. And this car was full of rust. But what was good about it, it was only minor rust. It had a lot of surface rust though. And now the car is like restored back to factory original. Almost. Alright, so let's heat this up again. There we go. I need to get me a new striker one of these days. There we go, right there. There's one. So I'm going to talk to the owner and probably tell him we're going to have to buy some new speed nuts for this. But I want to keep the factory original hardware, and I'm going to show you why. If you look at that, it's got the built-on factory washer on it, and we want to try to keep all that. So that's good that we went ahead and saved that. So we got one more stuffed back in here, and we're going to try to get this one off without using heat. The nut is busted loose from it, the threaded part. And I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. Let's see if I can see that in here. I can grab that nut right there. That's what we need to do, is grab that nut. And this one's going to be a pain in the ass. I can already see it. I can already see that this one is being a pain in the ass. Okay, let's try it one more time before we put heat to it. And there you go, right there. All right, let's go ahead and turn this baby over. We'll get a good look at it and see what we got. Before I do that, though, I want to go ahead and take the SS emblems off of it. We don't want to ruin those. Those are factory original. And I think more than likely the owner's going to probably want to get brand new ones, but we still want to protect those and save them. Okay, I went ahead and took the SS emblems off. Let's go ahead and look at this fender and see what we got. Now, when you get these fenders, the aftermarket ones, doesn't have the holes pre-drilled for any SS. You got to figure all that out and do that yourself. That's another drawback from aftermarket. So if we look at the fender really close, you can see all this rust down here. And you can also see it's going to take a little bit more than just a patch panel that the owner purchased to fix these. The inside structure is all rotted. You can see that. And once again, we got that piece that is part of the fender, not separate, the brace itself, like most of them. So we're going to go ahead and replace all that section, and we're probably going to have to come way up here to do it, up in this area. All right, that was very ingenious of him to actually use the aftermarket cardboard to pack this up. He actually went to the extreme of sending this. As you can see, he packed it secure. A little overprotection there, but that's okay. When you got to spend that kind of money for a piece of sheet metal, you can't be too overprotected, that's for sure. That is for sure. So he set this in with the fender. It's been sitting in that box for over a year. And it says, "Hey Pete, I included a story they wrote about our exploits in Frag. But I started in the USCG, United States Marines, in 1977 and I finished in 81. United States Coast Guard, I'm sorry, that's not the Marines, that's the Coast Guard. Got a civil service job and a buddy talked to me into New York Air National Guard, and unfortunately war broke out and the story begins. Also included a record I think you'll get a kick out of, plus washers, strip, headliner trim, and radiator support bolts. Thanks again, Bobby." All right, so Bobby was a Marine soldier, U.S. Coast Guard as well, National Guard. Seemed like he served our country in every aspect that he could. And there's the story right there. So I'll be reading that and letting everybody else know in a future video of exactly what's going on with this guy. It says right here, Chuck Roberts, Airman, Washington. Story from the front. Head note, convoy survives ambush in Iraq. Wow. We're going to have to read that. Now, he did say he sent me a record. Let's see what this is. Let's see what's going on. Oh, look at here. It's a little Captain Kangaroo. Wow. Do you see that, people? I grew up with that record. That's pretty cool. We'll be listening to this. This is actually this is a 45. This isn't a 78. I actually got a Captain Kangaroo 78. So if Bobby's watching this, thank you very much. We're going to be cherishing that for a long time. Captain Kangaroo, Treasure House of Songs. I went to the animal farm. I love a parade. March of the Toys, Toyland. Wow. Thank you very much, Bobby. Mr. Chevelle guy. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. I'm thinking about going back in time to when I was like 5 or 6 years old. Right there. So, as you can see, he sent a section of the fender, the section that I wanted, and The reason he had to do that is, once again, let me go ahead and turn this around, is because this piece right here, this piece is built onto the fender. It's not separate. So what we're going to do is we're going to manipulate our way into repairing this, and I'm going to cut this section off right up in here. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I look at the fender closely. I want to make sure that I precisely cut this out where it needs to be cut out. We don't want to not cut enough. We want to make sure that we overcut it so we can bring it down to what we need. One more thing I did want to show you is on the aftermarket fenders, it does not come with holes drilled out for the SS emblems. That's up to you to fucking do that. I think it's bullshit for the price that you pay for these things, and it's a little bit ridiculous. So what I'm doing is cutting all the spot welds off of our brace. And to be honest with you, the only thing that we're going to use out of this fender section that the owner had to buy is this section of this brace here, and I'm going to show you why here in a minute. That drill bit fucking sucks. Did you know that? One thing for this thing is fucking trash. They don't fucking make things like they used to. You're paying more money for less shit. Well, unfortunately, the owner had to pay all that money for a whole fender because of this brace right here. So, yeah, I think it's bullshit, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? So unfortunately, since the aftermarket manufacturers do not make the inner brace on this particular model, we had to buy a whole fender to just use this piece right here. A whole fender to use this. Unfucking believable. But what are we gonna do? So I'm looking at this right here, and this is where it goes, just like that. This is where our situation is. And we're not going to use, I don't know if we're going to use all this or not. I think we might just come up to this ridge right here and then splice it in right here. But I did cut it off long enough to make sure I had enough. So if we look right here, we can see the owner purchased these a long time ago. And we will go ahead and use this for our outer fender. Like I said, the only thing we needed was this piece right here. Very expensive part for this particular car, for sure. I don't know how many times I'm going to say that, but believe me, it was expensive. So we'll be using this on this, and the rest of this fender here is basically junk. It'll go in the scrap pile.
watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.